Yeah, so I guess it's kind of crazy now being 35. I have like a lifetime of experience, but I feel like I'm just getting started. Which is, I love that about this industry. Like, you could be any age, and like, I'm just getting back into music production like this past week. And I took probably 15 years off, but you know.
You're still. I
just love it. And you know, it's a hobby. Like, all my hobbies have become like the ways I make money. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Like, I never feel like I'm working. I will work like 14 hours a day. I'll look at the clock and be like, oh my God, what time is it? Like, I would just like forgot about eating. Like,
because it's just what you like doing,
Just what I like doing, exactly.
So out of curiosity, like, you said how you make money. So can you kind of talk about how you make money today and like what your revenue streams are or how that works?
So there's many, which is good. Number one for me is I consult on video and editing and brand for companies. A lot of times now it's real estate investors. They're wanting to build a YouTube channel, and I built one with my friend Max, and I basically take what I learned from there and apply it to other people, and they pay me, you know, anywhere from like $5,000 to $10,000 for the week to just like talk to me. And like, part of it is I'll say, hey, I'll film with you. I'll like show you what it's going to be like to have somebody shooting with you and editing and taking photos. So they get like that week of not only me producing content for them, but also like telling them, hey, this is why you should stand like this for the photo. This is how you should do thumbnails and SEO and how you should run your YouTube. So that's one source. I love that. I love doing like coaching calls on Zoom because, you know, you can make like $200 for an hour. And so I mapped it out. I was like, cool, if I work 20 hours this month, I actually don't have to do anything else if I didn't want to. So now, obviously, it's difficult to get that list of clients at first, and I'm working on it. But as it's running, it's like great. You know, I can schedule my time. So there's that. And then the contracts, you know, I do like a commission of 15% on all my clients. Like, I keep morphing into like agent, a filmmaker, a photographer. Like, I think I'm gonna go down here on the weekend and just sit in the park and do like free portraits for people. Be like, hey, do you guys want a free portrait? I'm a professional photographer. Make a YouTube video about that. And that's just basically an ad for me. So now people are like, hey, you live in Orange? Cool, can we set up a shoot? I'm gonna get paid. So for me, it's like I'm like all over the place. So reining in like the ADHD of like wanting to do everything is the most difficult part for me, because I can get sidetracked easily. I like starting lots of things, but it's all entertainment based, so it just never gets old.
How did you like find out that you could like do that? You could turn that. You were like working with companies and like consulting with them.
Right.
How did you figure out you could do that?
Thank you. So
like, did you go to them or did they come to you?
I went to them. Yeah.
At some point, fellas, we do have to order.
Yeah, true.
So because I know we're
right. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely do the special, the fish tacos.
Tacos?
Me too.
Yeah.
Do you guys prefer flour or corn?
I prefer corn.
Corn, yes.
Okay, how about you?
Thank
I'll
you.
also do the special corn tortillas.
Boom.
Okay.
Easy.
So write it down.
Everyone orders it.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah.
So the question was, how did he know when he could make a living at this? Is that kind of what you were asking?
Yeah.
I learned, so for the consulting side, I learned that I'd done it so much and people kept asking me like, hey, can you help me with the thing that I was doing? And I said, interesting. So I had the one client, which I built up his YouTube for the past few years. And then people just started asking me, hey, what you did for him, can you do that for me? So I was like, interesting. So I thought about it. Did I want to take on more people at first? I didn't want to. And then when I branched off and said, you know, I don't want to do daily content for this person anymore. I was working like 7 days a week. I was pretty burnt out. I was traveling the world though. I was going to Africa, Mexico, went to South Africa once, went to Ghana and Dominican Republic. Like, got to travel a bunch because of that work. But it was demanding. So like a vacation was still work. But what I realized is people want that because they want that lifestyle, so they're willing to pay. And then I said, all right, let me start reaching out to people and use what I've already filmed as like an ad. It's like a personal ad. So you're selling yourself, which made it easier for me to sell, because I said, okay, well, I'm not selling this product. Like, I would have such a hard time like selling like door to door something that I didn't make or I didn't believe in. But I believe in myself. I could sell myself all day. And when I realized that, I started reaching out to people, and I just the one thing I was always afraid of was the ask. Like if you don't ask for money, if you don't ask for it, you'll never get it. And that was a very simple concept, but very hard for me to like come to grips with, because I just wanted it to come to me, and I'm great at executing. I'm good at like sitting there editing all day and doing, but going out getting my own business, that was the scary part, because like a job affords you the security of not having to go find projects.
Yeah.
Like you just get inundated, you have so many, and like you're just like, can I please have a break? And for this, I'm like, can I please have more jobs? Because I want to get paid more. So the faster I can get them done now, the more I can hang out or get to the next thing. So it ebbs and flows though. Like some months are huge, some months are really slow. So I gotta manage, my money that way. But I wouldn't change it. I'm just in control of my time, which is the most important thing for me.
Yeah. So, and then you mentioned that you went to college. Do you think getting your degree in film production like actually helped you in your journey to get where you are today?
It did tremendously, especially because at the school I went to, the ratio of like students to teacher was 12-1. And my film professor, Mike, like we're friends to this day. Like we keep in touch all the time. And that, let's say I graduated in 09, so that's, over 10 years. Like, who would have thought that the chair of the department would be friends with me? He's hired me to shoot documentary stuff with him. He tells me, hey, just come visit, hang out in the classroom and like talk. And so but what really helped me was like the networking dynamic, and going to a good school like Santa Clara. The people with money, if I really needed something, if I really wanted to ask for a favor, I could get it. So I want to make sure I'm careful about like, all right, if I'm going to burn this bridge, and I think a lot of people have a negative connotation to that, but every time you ask for a favor, you burn a bridge, whether it works out for both of you or not, because that person's like, cool, I just did a favor for you. So next time there has to be more of like a value exchange. You might have to do something for them to get something back, versus just, hey, can you lend me some money? You know me, and obviously I'll pay you back, but there's nothing you really get other than like, I'm loaning you the money, and because I want to help you. So I always thought about that, and then with the network, I'm like waiting. If let's say I was making a movie, and I needed funding to like pay the actors, like to fund the movie, I would reach out to somebody in my college network. So that's for me why the degree was so important, is meeting all those people. And I learned the skills of editing and filming, and like I didn't learn every editing skill, but it showed me enough to where my like very tiny reel of terrible projects from college that are just like so bad to watch today got me my first job. Like there's no way that would work today, right? I mean, I'd have a better reel probably, but yeah, that degree like opened up every door for me. It was super expensive. I just finished paying it off in 2019. $160,000.
Wow.
4 years, yeah. It took me a while, but hey, I mean, I wouldn't change that experience for anything. I just like didn't know. I mean, I grew up in Maine. Like, I just wanted to be in California. I didn't really know what I was getting into at all. And like, as I went along, it's like you jump off the cliff with all the plane parts, and you build the airplane as you're like going down, and you gotta like nose up, which is kind of crazy, but that's what happened. I said, let me just like get around people who are doing what I want to do, and maybe I can help them. And I don't know. I just had a good enough work ethic. Like I wanted to work. I showed up on time, and people gave me opportunities. And even still, like you got to do the same thing. Like today, I would do the same thing. My buddy yesterday just gave me a job taking photos of this seltzer water, because he's part of the seltzer water company, and it's like $1,500, and I'll probably shoot for like a few hours one day, and like that's it. And that's all college. That's just a connection, and because I happen to have a camera. So that one I did not work for.
So yeah. And then also you mentioned you like do YouTube still, but is that like how you started also, like started building your portfolio, or did you start it like with your college?
I started it with college, and then I really only got into YouTube in like 2016.
Oh, so recently?
I just was always doing projects for other people.
Oh, okay.
Because they would pay, and like YouTube pays, but
you use it like for promotion?
promotion, and then like if I go like do something fun, I'll make like a video. Like I went on a hike and I just filmed. Keeps me sharp. I'd love to make money with that because I've run YouTube for like my friend, and he did like between 10 and 12,000 a month just on ad revenue for real estate. And then the sponsorships, the affiliates that he got, like a company that has like, you know, real estate data, pays him like 6 figures a month. One company. So the power of his brand like really commanded that. And it wasn't like anything special I did. I just helped to keep the engine running. Like I knew how to keep it moving, and most people in those positions, they just need an executor that like knows what to do.
Sure, I hold her somehow.
But tell me about what you want to do.
Oh, well, like,
A lot of things, one thing.
well, I kind of like a lot of things because like I know I want to be in like film and production and stuff because, but like there's just so many aspects of it that I haven't really like honed in one. But like what I really like is like writing, like screenwriting. Like
Okay.
that's like my main objective.
That's your jam.
Yeah, that's my jam. And so like
I like that.
It's just something about writing, and then like specifically like I like writing about anything, but like just like funny things, like I have all these skit ideas like in case one day like I'm ever like on SNL or something, you know.
Okay.
Like
Now we're talking, getting specific.
I have movie ideas, but like I can never really like see, like I should probably just like start working at them and not stop because I always like work on them, but then I'm like, I don't think this is gonna work. So, and then I have like TV show ideas also, and I just have a lot of ideas and I write them down, but I just don't know.
Write them down. That's the
I don't
first
know
step.
like what to do with them. I don't know what the next step is. Like I know I have to make a script and stuff. And
Right.
I know I probably should finish college first, but even then.
You can do it all now, all at the same time. You can, like, I'm sure you can find those hours in your day when you're like, I wasn't really doing anything.
Yeah,
I've mapped it out and I'm like, wow, I was being really unproductive. I thought I was being productive, but I was not. You can do it both. And if you don't want to be on screen, I'm sure you can wrangle your friends or like college students or like Chapman's up the road. If I was you, if I lived here, I would just like walk up the street, post something on the college, and be like, hey, who wants to like be in this, you know,
and
YouTube?
The actors can build their portfolio while I'm building mine. I see.
So,
And he's not shy about that. You did Two Stupids for a while.
oh, there you go.
I had
Right, on YouTube, and you got your friends to
4 years
be
ago, I
part-
had I had like a YouTube channel, and
Legit.
we would just make like funny, stupid skits, but the writing wasn't good. Neither were we were using like an iPhone 5 until it broke, so it looks horrible. And then I was the one editing, and I really didn't like editing. That's like my least favorite part. It gives
It's
me
good to
a
know
headache.
what you don't like.
Yeah,
That's important.
I like it. I like it because you could add some comedy through editing.
Oh, you
and
can.
you could add like some pizzazz that makes the video better. Because if the editing didn't exist, if there was no music, then it wouldn't be the same. But editing, I just don't like as much. But anyways, we had that YouTube channel, but like I would never want to show it to anyone because it's like really bad. It's like my writing abilities were like, we weren't really writing. We would just like write an idea on a whiteboard. Okay, you're gonna do this, and then we would start
And you just
going.
run with it, right?
Kind of like improv, right? But
Yeah, it was more like
But the
improv.
reason I brought it up is that you got to start somewhere. It's all experience. There's no such thing as bad. There's like you can be bad at something, but it's still experience. You see what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
I guess it is, because if you go back to that very first video
Right,
and then
right.
to the most recent one, that
That's-
was like 2 years ago. It looks way better than the first.
And it's satisfying too. Like when I look back at my student film, I go, how did we pass our class? That
Yeah.
was so bad. But at the time, that was the best we could do. Like, we couldn't do better. And so now when I look at my projects, I'm like, wow, like I did have to start somewhere. And the guys that I worked on that movie, that student film with, they have a channel called The Warp Zone in LA. And they've been doing YouTube since like 2010. They're super successful. They have like probably 10 million subscribers. Like they just do it full time. All they do is YouTube all day. They have a studio, like they're in Marina Del Rey. I mean, immediately I'm coming to mind, like if that's somebody you want to get introduced to, you can just go hang out with Shadow, ask those guys a million questions about what they do. Because they do scripted. Most people are doing, you know, like vlogs. There's no like script. It's just like off the cuff. But those guys, now they're moving into trying to shoot commercials. They just did something for Supercuts. So
Yeah,
that's coming out
something
soon.
I've always been interested. Also, commercials. Like
Mhm.
I always say, if I can't make it as a screenwriter, I hope I can at least make it as a copywriter that writes commercials.
You can do both. The cool thing is, like, once people figure out you can write, they're gonna hire you for everything because it won't matter. And so, like, any idea, your little like comedy idea could be a commercial, but that might spawn into
into something bigger.
like SNL. All those sketches turn into like popular movies.
Yeah.
And like all my favorite movies are like Zoolander. The whole sketch with like the tiny phone, like that became Zoolander. And so like I think the advice I would give myself at your age is like, don't worry about the how. Don't worry about how it's gonna happen. Just worry about like what you want to do. Cause like whatever you believe in, God, higher power, like that universe figures out the how. And so the less I stressed about that, I'm like, cool, I know what I want. It's not gonna be a straight line. I'm okay with that. But I'm not gonna stop till I get there. So if you just keep producing like writing, shooting YouTube videos, you're putting up all your jump shots. Like how many times did Kobe go in the gym when nobody's watching and shoot? Like probably millions of times.
Yeah.
And so that you're basically getting out all of like your misses, like all your bad takes, right?
So I should just worry about doing it instead of worrying about failing it and making it perfect.
Exactly, because
eventually it's never gonna be perfect, but it's gonna.
You and me sit here, and I'm not as good a writer as you, and you spend 20 minutes thinking about if you want to write, and I just start. I'm ahead of you 20 minutes, even if mine is not good. But I'm ahead because I'm getting in the flow. So that's kind of the way I like to think about it. Just jump in and take action, because you know. The other cool thing about the internet now is everything is like forgotten in a day.
Yeah.
You post something that like you don't like in 24 hours, nobody even remembers.
The thing I would interject, Tyler, is that just even having this meeting with David is like a way to, you're already making a connection, right?
Exactly.
So this is kind of like, it's part, what he said, just doing stuff, but it's also like making time to meet people who can give you some advice or move you ahead or which is like, you didn't say yes or no to him, but like that hanging out with those YouTube guys, I would take that in a heartbeat.
And those are like my college buddies.
Right.
Like they will say yes. It's not a matter of, it's just a matter of when you want to go. And like actually like we could both go, because I've been meaning to hang out with them. I just met up with them like a couple weeks ago. We had an alumni function, and that was good too, because I was trying to find an assistant. So I met some like kids who are still in college. I said, you know, if you're down here, let's work together. But yeah, I mean, you're right. It's just about, and then you never know. I know that they need help with stuff, and maybe it's just like, hey, help us do this one little thing. And that little thing, you do that well, it balloons into like something else.
So are we going to say yes to hanging out with you guys?
I didn't know he was asking.
Yeah.
No, he was asking.
I thought it was just like rhetorical. Oh no,
yeah.
but yeah, I would definitely love that
Cool.
opportunity.
Yeah. And then in the meantime, I'll give you it's the Warp Zone on YouTube, so you can like kind of look at their content. I was just trying to convince them actually that like, hey, you guys really need to run ads if you want to sell your commercial filmmaking and editing business. And they said, well, like how do we run? I'm like, guys, get off the fence. I'm like, do you have $1,500? I'm like, I know you do. Rhetorical question. Yes, you do. So just burn that money, run it for like a month or 2 weeks, and even guys like that, they need, help. So it's funny. Encouragement, yeah. I'm like, guys, what is it gonna hurt? They're like, well, we talked about it. I go, what are we doing here? Are we talking about it, or are we gonna try it? Because then you just have the regret of be like, man, I wonder if I had done that, something might have happened.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Nothing changes.
I think it's awesome advice.
I think it is. Yeah.
And you can tell, like, I was telling him, like, I genuinely love helping other people and teaching them. Like, I will talk about this stuff all day long. Because it's all I do, all day. I mean, like I told you, like, people pay me to consult, and I love that. But I, like, love giving back to people who are beginning their journey to, like, I didn't have me all the time back then. Like, I tried to find people here and there, but now, like, I've gone through the analog to fully digital age. Not a lot of people have done that. Like, just convincing my dad to get a computer at the house. And, like, I would still watch TV. And then I realized my assistant of the last, like, 4 or 5 years, like, I groomed him. He had a YouTube channel when he was 11, because he's, like, 24 now. all he did was grow up on YouTube, which is wild to me. I love YouTube, but he didn't watch TV at all. So there's a whole different generation of like how people consume content.
Yeah.
And again, I'm interjecting, but like I need to show you the masterclass thing that I have from my friend.
Oh yeah.
They have a couple of creators on there that I think are great, but
Issa Rae.
Issa Rae, that's the name of it.
I watched that one. Tremendous. And you can see she has like the most basic camera and like doesn't look good, but the comedy is there, and you can see her working these ideas out. And now she's like HBO, huge. And she just had to get those reps in.
And so what's exciting to me for you is before, like we were talking about this earlier, but like 20 years ago, there was gatekeepers in Hollywood. Like,
oh yeah.
You had to like suck up to the people who were executive producers and all that, and you had to like prove to them that you were worthy to get in. Now you don't have to ask anybody permission to be on YouTube. So if your stuff is good, people are gonna find it on YouTube, right? Because it spreads by word of mouth. And so Issa Rae, the lady who I can't remember her name, but Abbott Elementary, they both started off as people who did stuff on YouTube, got audiences, and then when they made their pitch to HBO or ABC, they were like, hey, this is a known quantity. I have 100,000 followers. Imagine if I did this for your network, I'd get you 1 million viewers. Right?
And think about it, they built this audience. So now the network doesn't have to do anything except say, hey, by the way, you know this person already, they're on our network.
Yep.
I like the writing angle though. It's a good thing that you like that, because most people nowadays just kind of want to be famous just because they exist. There's like very few people that can do that. So if you just put the work in, like an SNL, whatever show, I'm sure would love to have that. And that new like younger perspective, because companies need that or they can't sell ads.
And the other thing is, you got this unique background, Tyler, that you're Latino. We've talked about Grandmalita being a little crazy, right?
Probably 1 million stories there.
Right, probably 1 million stories there, and and so often I love this thing. The unique is universal. A lot of times we think we're the only people who has that crazy grandmother. But a lot of people are like, holy crap, my grandma's like that too, right? The personal is universal, that's the saying, right?
I like that. I haven't heard that.
You're right, your YouTube videos weren't great
they
to begin
weren't
with,
great.
right? But I was so proud of you because you actually did something. Most kids would
Yeah.
I have an idea, but they wouldn't do anything.
Well, we were just doing it for fun.
Yeah, but you still did something.
That's the point. Always do it for fun. Because that's the best content. Because then people can tell you're having a good time. And like my brother even says, he's like, I like watching your vlogs because it's fun. Like you pick all the fun stuff to show. It's not boring. And he's very critical. I always ask him for advice because he has like such discerning taste. Like he will tell you if he thinks something sucks. He goes, hey, that sucks. Doesn't mince words. So when he likes something, I'm like, all right, I'm really onto something, because he never likes anything.
If you have the time through your network, if there's like a great book or like whoever else has screenwriter talents that they have, like, hey, I like this book, right? I think this is the way to do it. Any suggestions that you can funnel our way? Super appreciative, right? Like,
I definitely have those, especially screenwriting. There was this guy, Ron Hansen, he's a Hollywood screenwriter, and he wrote the movie, it's like The Assassination of the Outlaw Jesse James. It was like a long title, but he went to Santa Clara and then he came and like taught classes. So like seriously, just through having that network, and those people, they love helping anybody in their network. And so by proxy, you are now in the network. That's how it happens. Like I go meet somebody at some other school, they're like, yeah, cool, like a Chapman. Yeah, cool, you're in. You're just like, that's it. And you're like, just like that? Yeah, just like that.
And in many ways, as a talent agent, and maybe I'm misspeaking, but it's in his interest to invest in you also, because if you hit it big, guess what? He's got a new connection, right? Like,
right.
Why not?
Exactly. And you'll be like, hey, somebody offered me this thing. I know you. I know that you're an agent. Can you help me with this? And I'll be like, yeah, of course. That'll help me. And you're like, I don't want to deal with the business side. Most people, that's why I help them, because they want to just be creative, and I respect that. And then I have other clients who are like, no, I'll handle it. I go, cool. do your thing. And they always come back and they're like, actually, I need help. I go, I know, I'm here to help you.
This is actually very helpful because before this, like, I would always think, like, how the heck am I even supposed to make connections? How am I supposed to even get in the industry, you know?
Right.
No one's gonna wanna read my script if I've never done anything bigger before.
Right.
No one's gonna pay attention to me if I've never worked with this, with that.
And
Oh, go ahead.
what's amazing is that you could have one really popular YouTube video and tell people that you're a writer and you made that, and that would trump any kind of like work you did in the quote unquote industry, right? So obviously, like, there's the chances of that happening, they're actually bigger than you would think. So if you what I would do, this is actually homework you need to do, is watch like every Mr. Beast appearance on a podcast, and he literally maps out the whole blueprint on how he does his thing. And you'll pick up a lot of things, and his biggest thing is like, focus on the title and the thumbnail before you even shoot your video. And that'll tell you if it's actually a good idea or not. Only shoot the best ideas you have.
Because people will click on them.
Because they'll actually watch them. But if you have an okay idea and it's executed really well, it's still just an okay idea. Like he did the Squid Games remake, and it got like great, it got more views than the Netflix show did. Obviously Netflix is different, but
Yeah.
like that's incredible because he just said, all right, we're gonna spend $3.5 million on this video and whatever. And that's the other thing too, like don't worry about the resources, just think big and then say, okay, but what do I have at my disposal? So you can still execute a big idea with limited resources. Like the movie Halloween, the original one. They shot that for $300,000 in 1978, and it's grossing like hundreds of millions. So just the point is that was just such a good concept, and then they keep doing sequels, right? So if your concept's really good, people will watch it. And I've done like 200-300 videos on my own channel, and like one of them hit, but I'm just gotta keep going to figure out what's the content that people like that I also like.
Yeah, that's the trying to find that nice crossover. Right?
Yeah.
Because there's an audience for you.
It exists.
It's just they have to find you, and you have to find them.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're never gonna get 7 billion people. Everybody doesn't go, yeah, that guy rocks. But if you can get like 100,000 people, that's
amazing.
That's a life. That's an income. That's a living.
Imagine if you can make your living on your YouTube channel, which will give you the time to write and apply for jobs and do whatever it is you want to do, but you just have like your branded channel. That's pretty good. I mean, that's like not a possible thing like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I think there's just a lot of opportunity, and I think what I heard from you is that like he made it more real for you, right? You were saying, hey, I don't know how, how do I get to see this.
Before I had no idea how I was gonna live out my dreams, but now I kind of have an idea.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't see it, you can't be it. You just can't.
Now I can definitely see it. It's just making connections, and if you do what you love, chances are it's gonna be good because you're giving it your full effort. Everything
will start just attracting to you. It just will if you're on that purpose of, this is my purpose. So I'm not getting knocked off this. I'm going after it, and everything that's supposed to come in will start to come in based on you continuing to focus on whatever that is. It can change, don't get me wrong, but just stay focused on your purpose and don't get distracted by like shiny objects. You know, like, that'd be cool, but is that really what I'm trying to do here? Like, it's not. So you stay focused on that. And like, this house, I manifested living out here like 4 years ago, and I really wanted to move here 4 years ago. I said, it's not the right time. It's not the right time. And then for whatever reason, the universe aligned for me. Found this great spot. I felt many times where I was like, maybe I need to totally change and this isn't gonna work. And something happens. Okay, it keeps me going, right? So you're gonna have a lot of those moments. It's just part of the game. You just gotta be willing to deal with it.
So how do you match, how do you put it, like, there is that part that, hey, doing what you love, but there's also the part paying the bills, right? Like, So like on some level, and I don't want to use the word compromise, but I want to say like something to the effect like, hey, if it's a corporate gig, it's not like you're super creative. You have to kind of follow, you have to align to their creative vision.
And you're not selling your soul. right? My first job out of school was at a FPGA chip manufacturing company. And they needed a video person. So I said, great, I have a job doing what I want to do. That's awesome. And I just realized that it's my vocation. So your vocation and your passion, they can be two different things. And for me, luckily, they're the same thing. My vocation is I'm good at making videos, telling stories with video. So that was, my passion was not the subject matter. Like I don't care about computer chips really, whatever. But I understood how to tell a story. If you tell me about yourself, what you're trying to accomplish, I can do a good job, synthesize it into something that makes sense, probably like writing. If you come up with a comedy concept and you're like, here's the main character, we're gonna have this dilemma, it's gonna build, it's gonna climax, and we're gonna resolve the problem. So it's the same thing even with a computer chip. Like, what's the point of this video? We're gonna show people how this chip increases their speed by 10x. I said, okay, great. And I go through the same process I would with a video I really want to do, which might be talking about like sports. So I didn't have to give up what I was doing, but my vocation pays the bills. So it might just not be subject matter that you like, but maybe you.
But he still got to be creative in that storytelling part,
Yeah.
even though it's a computer chip.
Color correct it, editing, I got to pick how the shot looked, the
Right.
lens, like I got to make all these decisions autonomously.
Yeah.
And like you will with writing, like when do you want to write in the daytime? Like where do you write? Like you can add stuff in. You can say, hey, I love this concept and I added a little bit to it. What do you guys think about it? And that's actually what companies want. They want you to like not just go along with what's already there. They want you to push it along.
Or give it a little spin.
Yeah, take a chance because like there's stuff, you have a perspective that they don't have, which is why they hired you to do the writing or the whatever the job is. So, but yeah, I mean, it's a vocation, right? So imagine if you could make money and your day job was writing commercials for like pet food. And you just got really good at that specific kind of commercial and you just wrote, your copy was great and it was just copywriting, right? You're like, wow, this is a pretty good check. And this is not hard for me because I just write, it's what I do. And it gives me all this extra time to do my thing. And then eventually that thing pays you more and you can leave this copywriting for pet food and you go do that.
And then eventually it builds into your passion.
And eventually people just call you because they're like, oh, we want you to consult on this script. And you're like, I don't even have to write it? No, we just want you to like read it and make some edits because you were the trusted guy on features or comedy or whatever.
And the other thing is like, I've seen this, like, maybe I get too much in the weeds with some television shows, but like, people start off as like a staff writer for one show, but that's where they kind of get their feet wet. And then they're like, hey, I have this experience. Now I want to break off and do my own show. Now that you have that experience, then you become the showrunner, and it's more your idea than just being the cog for something.
And that's
else.
pretty much how it works.
Yeah, that's how it happens. I've been reading this book about sitcom writing, and that's exactly what the guy writes about. How you usually start off like making I forgot what it's called, but making a copy, like a demo of a show that already exists, and then you pitch it to them, then they're like, okay, you can write one episode. And then if that episode's good, they'll be like, all right, we'll give you a contract to write like 3 episodes. And then if you keep writing for that show and eventually you're good enough, they'll let you write your own show.
Yeah, no, that's cool. And
yeah.
I think like, I remember that one, it was a weird story, but like Gwen Stefani's brother got that show writing for The Simpsons.
That is so random.
And then he started going,
just climbing the ladder,
Right, and so it just kind of interesting how these worlds intersect, and now a lot of television and film, they want more diverse perspective, and that's where you're, like, your background as a Latino, and your mom being from Mexico, your dad being from here, like me, and grandma on one side, grandma on the other side. You have those experiences that, maybe how do I put this? Most Latinos have that. The population metrics for Latinos is growing in this country, right?
Yeah,
so
like crazy.
Right? So all that stuff is just kind of... I feel the deck is stacked more in your favor than it used to be in the past.
The timing is really good.
Right.
It's really, it is stacked in your favor. It's great timing. And the other thing that I would do, and this is a little bit of a sidebar, is like sit down some of your relatives that
that'd be great. Yep.
like your dad, like grandparents, and just put them in front of a camera and like come up with a list of like 30 questions just to have it as like legacy. So I think it'll help you come up with some good ideas because they'll probably tell funny stories.
Oh yeah, my dad definitely has.
You don't want to lose those, because like oral history is tough to pass down if you're not getting all the stories, and you're gonna forget a few. So I would just sit some family members down, like say, hey, I just want to interview you just for me. I just want to keep this and just have it, forever. And I actually just did this for a client, and it was like it was super emotional. I was not ready for their reactions and the stories, and these are people I just met, and they're just telling me all this very raw information. So I would do that. It'll help you come up with ideas, but it'll be cool just to have, like, think about it when you're an old man and you have your grandparents, so your grandkids can like watch them. It's powerful. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure, as you know, like all your sources, it's just write what you know.
Yeah, most of what I work on is from what I know.
It's the most honest writing.
Yeah.
You can't make it up.
Even like the most absurd ones, they got inspiration from real life.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all based in reality. All of it. Storytelling is one of those jobs that will survive any recession because humans crave stories. Like, we have to have stories.
Yeah.
And if you're really good at telling them, you're always going to be paid. You're always going to be taken care of. Like, you just will. And then, the biggest part of that is like, how do you market yourself? And so that's really the constant battle you have. The writing, it sounds like that comes natural. You're gonna do that anyway. That's like a muscle you've been training. You keep training it, but it's the marketing of like who you are, how people see you. And I think it's just advantageous to be in your own YouTube videos. So people see you, and then when they realize who made it, they're like, oh, you made it and you're in it? All right.
Yeah,
I like this guy, he's cool.
They associate work with the face.
Yeah, I didn't know you wrote it too. That's awesome. And then people legitimize you, and you're not just the talent.
And so, any script writing stuff, recommendations, we would welcome. Also, I think obviously post on YouTube, but any other marketing ideas, let us know, because I think that would be like, not to speak on you, but that's a weakness you have because you're introverted and you like it's almost like
right. But it's good you're self-aware of it. Right. That's the most important thing.
I've always been introverted, and then one of my favorite things to do was in high school. Every now and then we'd have to present, and then you'd get like the choice to speak it or make a video about it. And as soon as the video was a choice, I'm like, oh, I'm doing this. And so
I did the same thing.
And then all the kids would laugh, and they'd be like, that's you? Why are you like this in class? But why are you like that? And it's just, I don't know. It's just like,
it's because it's so different.
Yeah, it's so different. Because having to speak in front of people, I feel like I don't have control. I don't have time to like write.
Check it, watch it back. All right, that looks good. You can't edit it.
Like if I had to tell a story like in front of a crowd, the story would be terrible. It would be told terrible. But if I could tell it through a book or through having two actors act it out, it would be way better. You
don't have to worry about the timing. Yeah. You're like, I know I wrote the timing in there, but now I don't want to have to perform it live.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's that's why SNL like fascinates me. They're so talented to be able to do that live. I mean, of course they rehearse, but
still the script is only like a week.
Yeah, and you're rolling, like cameras are rolling. It's live broadcast. That's a lot of pressure. With YouTube, you can sit there, you can do 100 takes, whatever. You take all day.
I think that's why they like get all their talent out of those comedy sketch groups.
Yeah, like improv, Second City, Groundlings.
If something goes wrong, they know how to deal with it because they've done it so many times in a live.
They're prepared.
Audience, right?
It's all about the yes and game. Just never say no. That was like the one thing I learned about from improv. I did like one class. So it's actually a good life skill. If anybody's like messing with you or banter, just like agree with them.
Yeah.
And make it bigger.
Yep.
So
exaggerated in that way.
Anytime anybody's made fun of me, I just like agree and I make it bigger. It's like self-deprecating, and then it takes all the control away.
100%. Kevin Smith, he did Mallrats and Clerks.
Yes.
My dad likes those movies, but he's like, people are like, hey, you suck as a director. Yeah, I know. I keep the camera right there. I never move it. And then that just kind of, he goes, like, if I make fun of myself, they can't say anything about me. Like, yeah, I'm a big fat guy who doesn't move the camera. What do you want? And they're
Right.
like, oh, he knows. It's almost like they go, oh,
Yeah.
he knows.
Right.
Right? There's nothing to criticize.
It's just like,
Right?
it's such a brilliant technique.
Right, because if you get defensive, then that's when it could go wrong.
Just keep,
No, you're wrong.
keep pressing
Right.
it. Just keep
Like,
pressing it.
It's that one thing where so like a friend of mine, he likes to say words in Spanish, but he says it like in a terrible accent, like polkadados, and I'm like, so I cringe, right? And so now I was like, damn it, I showed him my weakness.
Yeah.
Now he knows how to get under my
He's
skin.
gonna keep
like,
coming up.
tortillas and jalapenos. I was like, oh my god, dude, you're killing me.
Yep, that's right. That's exactly right. That's exciting, man. You're just at a, how old are you?
I'm 19. I just turned 19 this year, January
Man.
15th.
You don't have to rush anything. That's the important part. You do want to have a sense of urgency. Like, if you start a project, finish it. Like, because otherwise, I have projects still. They'll just sit there and they'll never get done.
Yeah.
It's better to finish it than to make it like perfect. Just like get it done.
That's
but
what
yeah,
I need to start doing for sure. Because I have a bunch of stuff I just sit on, and I'm like, I guess I'll just do it after college or when.
it's taking up
when
mental
it's ready.
space that you don't
Yeah.
realize. So it's not allowing you room for the new ideas to come in. But like I said, I'm 35 and I still hungry to like just be starting things. And I'm sure that if you're still doing screenwriting when you're my age, you are going to be way further ahead than you ever could have thought. And you don't have to only do screenwriting, by the way. Don't limit yourself. But if that is like your ticket, and maybe in like 2 years you say, cool, I have this skill, but actually I found out I really like directing. And now that I know how to write everything, it actually makes directing a lot easier. So just stay open to every job. Like I would, like the more people I can put you in touch with, especially with the Warp Zone, just like shadow each role to see what that person does. And you might like some stuff. That was the thing I liked about college is it's so different now. They changed everything because it's all digital, but it's like they did the TV news setup. So it's like 15 stations. You got the person that does the graphics, you got there's 3 camera operators, you got a director, technical director who's calling all the cuts. And every class we would rotate and shoot everybody's show. It'd be like a talk show. And you have a guest, and so you'd learn how to mic people, you would learn everything about the process. And in that process, you would learn, I really hate like this job. This is like technical director is way too stressful for me. But I love directing because I can just kind of get everything set up, talk to people. It's not as stressful. Or I love camera op because I just got to listen and move the camera a little bit. And so same with writing, producing, maybe continuity. That's not a bad job to try to get, is build your way up. And if you're just the continuity, like the script supervisor, you're reading, you're making sure, hey, you had this in your right hand, it needs to be in your right hand when we get this shot. And you just become more immersed in how those stories get told. So yeah, just open to everything. Which it seems like you are. You're just like, you're starting out, you're exploring, and that's the best place to be.
Anything that can get me into the industry, I'll take.
That's the right attitude too.
Just for experience.
Yeah, and that's a perfect point because it doesn't mean like, oh, I landed this, I have to stay here. Like,
Right.
And you can make those jumps.
You
and
can
to
learn
his
from
point,
there, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
By doing a little bit of everything, if you ever want to do like your own passion project, you know how to do a little bit of everything. So that means if you can't find the person to help you do it, you can do it yourself.
Yep, exactly.
Right? But conversely to that, if you can get other people to help you, again, that's just more contacts for you. And it's kind of like that, what's that saying? Rising tides float all boats.
Yeah.
Meaning, if you're doing something and you're lifting up other people, they're going to remember that you're the one helping them out. So when they land something, they might help you out.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, the more friends you make, they'll say, hey, Tyler, we're going to hire Tyler over here. I mean, again, the photo shoot I just landed yesterday, my friend just knows I'm good at photography, so he just pitched his company. He pitched me to his company, and I didn't have to do anything, except my work spoke for itself, and now I have a good job. And now it's up to me to turn that into like a repeat thing. Because, yeah, that's great. Trying to work less hours. I'm at the point I'm trying to work less hours to get paid more. But I put in my, 10 plus years of just grinding to get here. And I'm willing to do that again. I actually just like working all the time. It's fun. Like, I'm sure screenwriting, like when you get into it, you just lose track of time.
Yeah.
Same with editing videos and like shooting vlogs and taking photos. I lose track of time completely.
And to his point, like, it's not the same analogy, but like when I first started tutoring through the college, I had to charge whatever the rate was. But then I got really popular, and people were like, I want him. So I split away from the school and I raised my rates because that's how in demand I was. But at first I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I can charge someone $20 to tutor them. It sounds like exorbitant, right?
Right.
But 2 years later, I was charging $50 to $75 an hour because I was like, well, hey, I'm good at it. Other people were giving me word of mouth, and then I incrementally started charging more and more and more. And some people got mad, but most people were like, yeah, no, whatever it takes to keep you, Miguel, right? And I'm like, cool, right? So to his point, right, like he had to grind it out at a lower scale, but then once he's like, when it's almost like a confidence thing. It was a confidence thing that I didn't feel caught charging more than 20 at first. But once I was like, I could do this. Hey, I'm doing it better than a lot of other people. I should be charging this, right? And then when you confidently ask for that number, you know two things. A, you've already built that resume and you got to that point. B, you go, I know most people will pay me $1,500, and if that person doesn't want to pay me $1,500 or whatever the price is, it's okay. I know I can get another job lined up in a week or two at that same price, right? Yeah. But you have to get to there, right? And that confidence, like you see the confidence exuding out of him because he has that, like, I know I could do it. What do you need? I know I could do it. Yeah. Right? When I was first starting, I was like, I don't know if I can solve that one math problem. But after a year, it's like I could solve almost 99% of the problems kids would put in front of me, right?
And I just learned to have I have insane confidence. I don't look like the typical, like, I guess what you would call like a alpha male who's like aggressive and extroverted and all that, but I will literally talk to anyone and ask for anything. So I developed that over just, even if I was pitching a project, I didn't know everything, I would just basically lie to myself and say, yeah, I can do that. Figure it out later. Land it and say, I know enough people that could help me if I really don't know all the answers, because that's the secret. You don't actually have to know everything. You never will, and you don't have to. And that is a big part of the whole imposter syndrome. Is like, I went through it too, thinking, I don't have enough skill, I don't have enough experience, I don't have enough of this or that. When it doesn't really matter most of the time. Companies actually don't care about that. They just care that you deliver on what they want. Or if it's your YouTube audience. They don't care. They don't care about think about it, nobody's looking up your resume. They just want to watch your videos. Hey, make us another video. We like that. That's it.
And in a creative field, I do agree you can fake it till you make it. Like if you're a doctor, don't fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to cut it wherever I want, right? But in a creative field, you totally can do that. Like I do presentations at work all the time. And a lot of it is the storytelling. It's in a different setting, but trying to get that point across in a way, and that's where I have the leeway. How I want to say it is the leeway with the creativity part of it. But to his point, now I've gotten to a point where, like, what do you want me to talk about? Okay, I can make that happen, right? Boom. And I'll figure out as I go along. I don't have to have a perfect plan starting out. Even when they give me an analytics project, a lot of it is like, where do you want to get to? You want to get to there? Okay, I have, like, with the experience I've already gained, I start mapping out in my head. If I go, like, I start mapping out 5 routes. But because I have so much experience, I already, like, oh, not that route. Oh, this one, and this one will work. It depends on if I can get that. Oh, this one I can get. Now I'm going that route. But now I know I don't have to have all the answers when I start. But I have a general idea how I'm going to get there and just kind of knock down whatever task is in front of me to get to the next level. Right? So I think,
And it's a lot. That's why I wanted to record this, because you're going to want to try to absorb it.
Yeah, definitely.
And the other thing, too, is, like, my advice, his advice, anybody's, don't take it all.
Yeah.
Just take what's going to work for you. Because some of it you're going to be like, that doesn't apply to me at all. I can't use that. So just take what's helpful. Because a lot of times we get overwhelmed with, I have to do all these things. I'm like, man. It's like, no, you don't. I'm just telling you the stuff that worked for me. Take it or leave it.
Yeah, because to his point, you can go through this. It's called analysis paralysis, where you're just like, oh wait, I have to
Right.
do this and do that. Like a lot of times, you just, to me, you have to go with your gut. You just go, hey, I think this is the right thing to do,
Yeah.
given the information I have. I see so many people beat themselves up, like, oh, I went this route and it was dumb. I'm like, yeah, but you thought it was the best route at the
Right.
time. You're gonna make mistakes. But a mistake is not a disaster if you learn something.
Yeah, and now
Every
you
mistake
know,
is experience.
don't do that.
Right, right?
Great,
That's
at
all it
least you
is.
know that now.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, at a young age, that's all I was getting was advice, which was great. I was happy to get it, but also, I've got friends now who they just, your path is your path, and they think that it's out of love. People think that their way is the best way for you, and they're only telling you that because they want you to be safe and succeed and all that. And so you have to realize, like, that's where it's coming from. It's not a negative place, but you can also just politely be like, thank you, but you don't have to use it.
I think this was super helpful.
No, I think it was super helpful.
Yeah, and
this,
you
this
could-
gave me a lot of insight.
Good.
Thank you.
Good. And keep the group chat going. If you want to call me, FaceTime, whatever. If you're like, yo, I got this great idea. Do you think it's bad? Like, I'd love to see your work too. If you have stuff, like, send it along.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, hey, he might represent you one day.
Sure. I might be like, wow, this actually is pretty good.
All right.
Hey, let me pitch this around.
Yeah. All right.